On the topic of streaming governance, we're asking how can we pave the way for democratizing data? The man with all the answers is Ala Al-Sharif. He is the Senior Solutions Engineer for the Middle East region at Confluent, and he has more than 17 years' experience at global enterprises. I feel his presence near me. Here he is. Please welcome him to the stage.
هي دي الحاجات اللي انا بكتب فيها. انا رخم جدا لو انا مش فاضل عند امك هتفضل دلوقتي. بقول له لقيته بيكح فبقول له سلامتك قال لي انا عندي كورونا. بشوفهم كلهم المكتب اتعدل.
This one is working? Okay, perfect. Thank you very much, everyone. I'm gonna be quick. I know I'm the only thing standing between you and lunch, so today I'm going to be talking about the streaming governance, and I will start that by kicking on the principles of basically data mesh. May I ask how many of you start exploring the data mesh architecture in their organization? As expected, small number. Right. So data mesh is the new, basically, buzzword that we see a lot of discussion. A lot of organizations that we are discussing with are looking into basically go into sort of that architecture, right? And the main four principles defined is basically the data ownership by domain and how we can do the data as a product from the multiple sources that we have, the data availability, and the self-service, and of course the governing of data across. So when we look at the data mesh, it's a data-driven architecture. Is a data platform design that driven by the data-driven architecture, right? Where it allow organizations to have their data across multiple business units being shared, right? And build on top of that what we call the data marts, the ability to have a domain-driven design, build the microservices across for the business logic, and of course the event streaming. And Confluent help with the event streaming part and the ability to govern as we start moving data in real time between these multiple business units, right? So the first thing we look at when we talk about the domain-driven decentralization of data, right? The old discussion was collecting data, bringing it to a data warehouse, a centralized location, and after that start basically applying the governance, the analytics, the operation on the data, right? And we see that as basically an anti-pattern design that we start looking at basically, or organizations start looking at, why can't we have the data in their location, like collecting these data from multiple departments where you have a distributed ownership for the data sources and be able to connect these multiple sources with a streaming platform, ability to move data, and each one of these groups will manage their own data source, right? Be responsible for the data source that they're producing and start producing these data as a product to other organizations, other departments, right? And with the Confluent platform, having the ability to have the event streaming, having the ability to build this pipeline that can move data in real time between the multiple data sources, then we can achieve that architecture from that perspective, right? The second thing basically is data as a first class, right? And when we talk about that is simply for each department, each group will be responsible for their data source. They were responsible for producing the data quality, producing the right data to be shared with other departments, other group, and basically connecting these multiple sources together, right? So they will be sort of the producer of the data with the decentralized sources, decentralized in organizing the way they manage their data, then basically connect these multiple locations together, these multiple sources together. So with the Confluent platform and Kafka, you're going to be able to basically have this real-time connectivity between your multiple sources. Now, this could be a connectivity between departments, business units, but also a connectivity internally in each of these basically business units or department to exchange data between the multiple systems and control what data they want to share with the external team, okay? What data they offer it as a product from their side to the other organization or to the other business units to consume these data. And it's basically, it's not physical, it's an architecture way, because you can build a single pipeline that you can control which data goes internal, which data is being shared externally with other business units. Capabilities from Confluent to be able to allow you to build your transformation on these data in real time as it's being moved, right? So let's say you're sharing not only the data that you are producing, but also a transformed data that you apply some operation on that, some results, some analytics, and the result of that is being streamed in real time to be used by another business unit or another organization, right? So with the Confluent platform, we have this capability. We have the capability to build the transformation in real time on the data as it's being streamed using the capabilities from our platform. Connectivity and integration. So as you start looking at an event streaming and connecting these multiple systems, one thing we see with our customers is basically how easy it is to integrate with the multiple sources, right? And this is where we add on the connectors, what we call the ready connectors, CDC connectors. So basically, you're able to plug into your databases, data sources, or your data consumers without any overhead to manage program integration and do all that. So you have a ready connectors that allow you to plug in and build these data in real time or sync the data in real time to the multiple sources or expose it externally as a REST API that's going to be consumed by your basically consumers of the data and in other parts of the organization. And as we do that, we look at basically how you're publishing this data, right? So we talked about the connectors. As I said before, using this transformation, you're going to be able basically not just to share a raw data, you can share the result of basically an operation or basically transformation of this data. An example of that, let's say you have a transaction from a customer and you want to join that with another customer detail that's coming from another system. You're going to be able to build these data in real time as this transaction happen inside the Confluent platform with the transformation. For example, I can do a joint operation, and the result of that will give me the transaction with the complete customer details that's being shared with another business unit in real time, right? And this allows us to build this sort of not just sharing the raw data with the other part of the architecture, but sharing also the result that I want to share and govern all that. The third important principle is the self-service data platform, right? So as we start connecting, as I said, connecting multiple data sources, connecting both historical and real-time data to be shared with your different business unit, your different systems internally, the formatting of this data, maybe the need to access historical data that are available in an internal data lake or an internal database, that you're able to build these data as the transactions happen or as the events happening, right? And analyze these data and send the result in real time. So this is what you can build on the system, right? With an event streaming platform, with the Confluent platform, is not just going to move the raw data in, but I'm able basically to build a stream processing on that, right? So the data will come from multiple sources. I'm able to do whatever operation, transformation I want to do with that, then share it with the other business units in real time. Another part of the architecture that we see is basically building this pipeline to be a single pipeline instead of having two separate connectivity. Let's say for your batch operation, real-time operation, we see a lot of organizations utilizing on a single pipeline that basically push a real-time and batch operation. Because if the batch operation is happening on the source over here, as soon as it happens, it's going to be streamed as a real-time to any other system to consume it, right? So we're transforming this from being a batch that's happening, but then it's streamed in real time. Then the other systems that are consuming this will take advantage of this, where basically they have the data coming in real time to them and they can process on this, right? So we see the move toward more of like having a single pipeline that connect their multiple transactions, instead of basically having two separate pipelines to process batch operation and the real-time or streaming of data. So as we move into this, the most important thing across all of that is how we can federate and govern that, right? So as we start connecting these multiple domains, decentralizing that, you have multiple groups that are managing their data separately. Moving this basically management of the data and the cleansing of the data into the pipeline itself. So whatever part of the business that's starting basically to share this data, it will push it into the pipeline. Then you have all the engines, part of the pipeline to basically manage the schema of this data, cleansing the data as we move it between and share it between the multiple part of the organization. And with the Confluent platform is not only an event streaming that gonna do that, but basically it allows you to build on top of that with the multiple tools, right? To build your risk management, your data security, your privacy, integrating it with identity management to allow different level of access on your data as it's being streamed, control who can access what, encrypt type of data, for example, or masking data as being streamed, right? Either internally or outside the organization. The last thing I want to cover on this is basically the capabilities that Confluent give you, from the stream quality, the stream catalog, and the stream linearity. So basically you can see your whole pipeline and monitor the whole pipeline of the connectivity between your multiple sources and your multiple consumers, right? This is available also part of the Confluent platform in the cloud. So even if you do want to go through the deployment of the Confluent platform to test the connectivity or to test the platform or to build that, you have it as a managed service in the cloud. So basically with a couple of clicks, you can sign up, you can deploy the environment and start testing this. You have all the connectors available, so it becomes much easier for you to integrate with any type of database, any type of data sources, basically to exchange data, either basically on-prem or in the cloud. And you can manage all this across the platform. We can help you a lot with discussing this further. I know that the time is not enough to discuss the whole thing for like 15 minutes, but we're available here. We're happy to basically help you more with your journey on that and how you can basically adopt the event streaming platform, either as a data mesh architecture or basically just as an event streaming platform. Because we see a lot of organizations, they start internally as one business unit, and as they build this event streaming internally, they start expanding of what they want to share externally, what they want to share with other business units, right? Or with external customers. So we're happy to discuss that and help you with this journey. And that's everything I want to say today. Thank you very much. I hope I'm not long. Looking forward to discuss with you. Thank you.